He's fine.
He's probably mourning.
He's probably eating.
There's your-
He hasn't eaten.
That's there's your headband too.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So we might as well get started. This is the title of it is "Don't Throw the iPad."
It's all fun and games.
All fun and games until somebody throws the iPad. Because I, as the parent of a child, have had my daughter throw the iPad when she gets frustrated when we're gaming. So my name is Dr. Sarah Hanisco. I have a PhD in conflict analysis and resolution, and I've spent a lot of time focusing my education on geeky things. You can find me at Geek Parenting Podcast. We do that about once a week is when we do our episodes. You can also find me at academicgeeks.org, and I'm all over the Facebook and Twitter. All you have to do is Google me, Sarah Hanisco, and you will find me. But I want to take some time and have our other panelists introduce themselves. So we'll just go down the line.
Hey, I'm Johnny Tuero. I'm also on Geek Parenting Podcast. I don't have credentials. San Dimas High School football rules.
Those are credentials.
There you go.
That counts.
I have 4 kids. I can tolerate most of them. They range in age from 21 to the youngest will be 7 tomorrow. So, quite the range there. So.
My name is Mike Tuiasoa. I'm also a co-panelist on Geek Parenting Podcast. Also the janitor / owner of Watchtower Cafe, the geekiest coffee shop in Salt Lake, and where you can find me making drinks and mopping floors.
What's the address?
1588 South State Street, Salt Lake City.
My name is Craig Nybo. I am a novelist, and I am also a game designer for a company called Quirky Engine Entertainment. I brought our latest game here. It's called Chops. It's a rock and roll band building game, a family game. So I'm looking forward to being on this panel.
Cool.
My name is Jacqueline Weiss. I write young adult fantasy and romances. And you'll just find me at jacquelineweiss.com, and then I'm at a lot of these different shows. This is the first time I haven't had a booth, so it's kind of strange, but I get to run around with my kids, so that's fun.
Oh wait, how many kids do each of us have?
I have 6 kids ranging from 16 to 7, so it's
Nice.
crazy at my house, but it's a lot of fun.
5 under my roof.
And what are the ages?
They go from 19 to 5.
Cool. And I have 5 as well, from 17 to 10.
Did you already say how many kids you have?
He did.
I have 1. She's 5, and that's all I need. So how we're going to run this is I'm going to just ask you guys questions. Go ahead and answer the questions as you see fit. Jump in whenever you feel like you need to jump in, interject. I'm a former college professor, so I may challenge you on some of your answers. But the first thing I wanted to ask you guys is, did you grow up gaming as a family? And if so, what did you do and what did you get out of it as a child growing up gaming with your family?
We did some board games together as a family. Usually if my mom played a game, she'd lock herself in her office for hours and hours until she beat the game. And we had an Intellivision. That was the one that we played forever, and that was a lot of fun. And then we got the Super Nintendo, and we played tournaments. And my family, as in me and my kids, we game all the time. I actually owned a bookstore out in Eagle Mountain, and we did a lot of games. And the cool thing about that is you have to try out the games, so we got to play a lot that way.
I definitely played lots of video games growing up, but I'm coming at you from more of a board gaming side. Pretty much my entire existence from when I was 14 until my first date was committed to Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could easily put in a 20-hour day. But I attribute a lot of what I am now to that gaming as a writer and definitely as a game designer.
Now, we were a board game family for sure. All kinds of just the standard, Monopoly, chess, Life, all the basic Milton Bradley board games. We would play together as a family all the time. But we also, and we talked about this on our last panel, we had an old Macintosh computer, and we played a lot of games on there. Like King's Quest was our family game, and we would all challenge each other to see who could beat the game the first, and help each other out with tips and things like that. So we grew up gaming quite a bit in our family.
With my family, the parents weren't really involved. They were all too busy, trying to feed us heathens. So it was mostly there were a lot of us cousins. So, my sister and my cousins and I would play whatever board games we had available, or video games, which I would say we really could have used a Dr. Sarah. We could use some conflict resolution, but we all survived.
So my family was very big on gaming. We played board games, everything from checkers to Monopoly. We played Axis and Allies, which is kind of a game you don't see many families playing these days, but played a lot of that because my dad was into World War II history.
So you play Risk?
Not Risk, more Axis and Allies. We played a little bit of Risk as I got older, but we always focused on Axis and Allies because that was his thing. And then we got the NES, the original one. We played a little bit of Atari, but NES was kind of our big family thing. I mean, even extended family. There's a great picture of my family and I at Christmas, and it's me, my brother, and my cousin, and we're all laying on the floor playing the NES. Just big smiles on our faces, just totally enjoying it. And so as we got more into that, our parents got games that we could all play together. Like I mentioned on our last panel, Jeopardy was a big game for our family to play together because we all love the trivia games and things like that. So my next question for you guys is, how have you brought gaming into your family today? How do you encourage your kids to play games? What do you want them to get out of it?
One of my favorite memories was when my son was in kindergarten. We got the PlayStation 2 to play Kingdom Hearts, and we would play it quite often. And he'd come home from kindergarten and sit next to me and just watch and play. And he got into video games, and then it's just kind of moved on. I married a gamer, so I'd be playing on the PlayStation while he's in the other room playing StarCraft or World of Warcraft or whatever. And then we've just kind of built on from there. We do both board games and video games. Right now, the big one in my family is either Smash Bros. Or Clash Royale. They're all playing. And my kids keep stealing my phone so that they can get mine up so I don't get kicked out of the clan.
Wow.
I just like to bring home a game every once in a while, a new game. There are game designers that I follow, so when they come out with a new game, I make sure I go pick it up. And usually I just bring it home, and my boys I have two boys, and they're really the gamers of the family, but I just bring it home and I show it to them, and they get psyched, and we sit down and play. So there's a constant influx of new games on our table. We're always playing.
Gaming is our family time. So that's what we use to bond with the kids and I, and whether it's like board games or Injustice. My favorite is Injustice tournaments or Mortal Kombat tournaments, because then you get all the crap talking between each other. It can teach the kids how to roast other people, make them feel bad when they lose. All the things that kids need to know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's our family time, it's our bonding time, and it's when it's kind of the only way that I know, because that's how we grew up was through gaming. And I mean, I'm joking, but really like teaching them how to lose properly, how to lose with dignity and without throwing controllers across the room, breaking the TV.
That's super important.
Super important.
Yeah, for me, with my family, it is more video games. I do like to play board games. I've, in the last year or two discovered that the board games we have available to us now are way better than the crap I had as a kid. And I just can't seem to get the kids interested, but I will find it. I will find the one game to drag them in. But mostly, like I said, it's video games. Mario Kart, Mario Party, even games that aren't multiplayer in that way. We can link up our 3DS and we can all visit each other's town. We can play Animal Crossing. And it really was quite amazing to me how much my 9-year-old and my 7-year-old enjoyed that. Like, they wanted time every day for, I think, a month straight, where we would just go in and out of each other's town in Animal Crossing. And, even if I had something going on, I knew that it's the little things like that just means so much to your kids, and it really is important.
So for myself, with my daughter Lily, we started her out on tablets and instead of consoles and doing educational games, and then she just got more and more interested in other things. Five Nights at Freddy's is her big game right now on the console. She absolutely adores that. And I sit with her every night and I help her play that and help her learn it, because even I'm learning it. I don't get Five Nights at Freddy's very well, but I sit there and I spend time with her learning it and getting to know more about her and getting to more about her interests. as a mom with a little girl who likes to play video games. So that's what I try to do with her. And with our board games, she's very interested in rolling my D&D dice to help me build characters and build my games, which has been great to help her kind of learn math. So my next question for you guys is, what lessons do you want your kids to learn as you play games? You mentioned
How to lose.
how to lose.
Yeah.
But what other lessons would you like your kids to learn as they grow as a gamer and as you grow as a gaming family?
I think that's a huge thing. My family, my kids are the most competitive kids I have ever met. It's insane. The other day they were fighting over who would have kids first, and the oldest is 16. It's gonna be a while. I'm like, you have no control over that, but they didn't care. So I think teamwork is a huge thing. I think you learn the math skills and the reading skills and everything else like that. My daughter is in a Chinese immersion program, so she does a lot of the Chinese games. I think you can get a lot out of games as long as they're learning as they go. The competitive is huge. How to lose and how to win. You know, don't rub it in the other person's face, even though they do. And I am not exactly the best example of that either. I like to win.
Well, there are ways to do it gracefully.
Yes.
Just go rub it in your face a little bit.
I actually like it when they talk plenty of smack.
I do too.
But there's a way
I
to,
do too.
there's a way to do it without hurting the other player's feelings.
And that's
Like you do it,
tricky.
and you do it right up until you can tell that their feelings are going to be hurt, and then you back off. And I think when my kids are talking smack and doing that and learning sort of to gauge that and to make it fun, I think that's valuable. But I also like the idea of my kids playing a tabletop game. From box to playing the game, getting it out themselves, reading the rules, sitting down with their friends, engaging in the strategy. The whole process, I believe, is good because it's kind of a project. It's a learning project that they can go through. And of course, the family time, the quality time that you get to share with other people. I'm trying to teach them young the value of this as a vehicle for getting sort of a concentrated dose of that friend building time.
I think the number one thing that I want my kids to learn from any game, whether it's board game, tabletop, video games, is how to figure stuff out on your own, by yourself. Whether it's like figuring out the rules to play this board game, or how to steer the remote control batarang in Arkham City. Figuring out how to get things done, how to make it work, is one of the most valuable skills I think that you can have just in life in general. It prepares them to be independent, autonomous, and kind of go through life figuring things out without needing help from anybody else.
I like to use it as a vehicle to encourage them to try an array of different things. Like I said, it's difficult with the board game, any sort of tabletop or board game. I did finally get my 9-year-old playing the deck building Harry Potter game, but it's still a struggle. But with at least with video games, I will just get a game and I will play it, and usually it just takes them watching me play it for them to want to try it. And even if they don't stick with it, that's fine. There's no, if the game's not your bag, it's not your bag. You can come back to it later if you want. But try something different. If you're playing a multiplayer game, I think empathy. Just learn, I think it was mentioned before, just feel the room. If you're having fun, that's great. If you're getting a little too aggressive, learn when to rein it in. It's pretty important in life and in gaming.
I've been working with Lily in patience because Lily did literally throw her iPad a few days ago, and it's broken now. So, yeah, so we're working on patience with her. She doesn't get another tablet for a while. So I just wanted to share some statistics because I am a doctor and it's what I do. So Goldsmiths University did a study and discovered that gaming is good for family bonding and has showed a positive impact in cultivating quality time. Of the 3,250 parents surveyed, a third of them play computer games with their children every day, and 80% describe playing video games with their children as quality time. So universities are really starting to study this. So do you think that parents bond better with their kids playing games, and why?
So a few years back, we went to Australia for what was supposed to be 5 years. It ended up being 5 months. That's how well it went. But we were away from absolutely everything that we knew. They had to learn new games that were played at school and everything else. One of the first things that we bought while we were there were some board games. And every night, that's what we'd play, because all of a sudden they realized that all we had was each other. And so we got into the gaming the most while we were there. I think we still have one or two of the games that came. I think another one got lost on the way back. But it's huge. You get to know the kids a little bit better. They get to know you. Gaming has been a huge part of my family, and we get together. Whether it's a video game or a board game, it's the funnest time that we have. If we have a free night, we pull out Dominion or something else that we can play together as a family, and they all love it, and we get to hang out with our kids and be the cool parents, which is always nice.
It's nice to have some statistics to back up what we already knew.
Exactly.
Yeah, gaming is tremendous bonding experience, and I'm always baffled by people newcomers to the table, either friends or extended family, and it's like, hey, let's play a game, and you pull one out. And at first they might be rolling their eyes or whatever. They see an intimidating game on the table, intimidating to them, maybe because it's not one of those old Milton Bradley games that you're talking about.
Life.
And you have to say, just give it a try. And by the end, they're converts. And I think that maybe the overstimulating nature of the world right now, where we have access to everything at all times, is one of the reasons why we're starting to see the numbers of the sales numbers for tabletop games growing hugely year by year by like 12 and 15 and even 20% over the past 8 years now. And I think people are discovering what those numbers are saying.
What was the question?
Bonding with your
Bonding.
kids. Gaming, good bonding time.
Yeah, and because of the number of kids that I have, I mean, years ago when we first started gaming, I was playing every single game with all the kids, and that was our family bonding time. And kind of now as they get older, I have 3 teenagers, and they love hanging out with me, but they also enjoy their time away from me. And so gaming has now become the brother and sister bonding time, where I can just kind of like, go cook in the kitchen or kind of take care of whatever I need to take care of, or just leave the house and let them play games. And that's their time to, have their brother and sister bonding. So yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's nice to have statistics backing up what we already know, just because we see the results. And I've since I don't even really have, as far as video games go, I've lifted all the screen time restrictions that I used to have on game. I let them play. I just let them play, and they kind of manage themselves. Now, if they fight, zero tolerance. Once they start arguing and fighting, game goes off. But because they know that rule, then now they can kind of self-manage it and make sure that they want to keep playing their games.
And it's easier when they're older.
It's easier when they're older. They don't want to stop playing games, so they, constructively figure out ways to resolve their arguments so that dad doesn't come and turn off the game. But yeah, I've lifted the restrictions and haven't seen any negative results at all whatsoever.
Yeah, by and large, I'm a fairly hands-off parent, not through any cognizance. I just don't know how to interact with my kids. I don't know why, but that is one way we can bond. I remember an instance when my son was, I think, 7 or 8. He's 21 now. He lived on the other side of the country with his mother for a brief period of time, and I would still call him every day, and we would talk for at least a few minutes. And he would get so excited telling me about whatever he had done playing Mario Sunshine that day, and that was so great. And it's with my daughters now, my 9 and my 7-year-old, they're starting to get into games that I play as well, and they get so excited, or they don't want me to help them play the game. They want to know, hey, where do I find this thing, or what do you do to try to beat this guy? They're looking for tips. and it gives me that doorway to kind of interact with them where otherwise it's difficult for me. So I think that's a terrific way to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of get into the fun stuff now. I just want to hear your stories about gaming with your families. So just think of some times when you had some really good times and tell us those stories. For me, just a few months ago, I introduced Lily to Disney Infinity. And even though that game is no longer being made, she absolutely adores it. And she thinks it's just hilarious to pick me up and throw me off the edge of the world, or to go over to the Banthas in the little Star Wars area, and she's named them, Mia is the big one, and Squishy is the little Bantha. And so she will pick up Squishy and then go ride Mia around carrying Squishy. It's really been fun just watching her kind of explore and really discover how to use her own skills to maneuver around this imaginary world. And when she gets frustrated, she does throw things. She throws her little tantrums, and of course we turn it off and we talk about it. We say, hey, this is not the way to game. It's not what we do. Take turns. And sometimes when you're playing with other people, things are going to happen that you're not happy about, and you just got to get over it. So those are kind of some of the things that we've done with her. Is me just watching her explore has been some of the most fun time I've had with her as a parent, watching her game. She's also very into, like I said, Five Nights at Freddy's, which I don't get the phenomenon of that game at all. So if somebody can ever explain that to me, please, I'm willing to listen. But we've been playing.
Because all the other kids are playing it. That's why.
No, it's because she watched it on YouTube. Ugh. But we're playing Sister Location, and she gets stuck at this one spot. And she's like, help me. And so I help her, and we still can't figure it out. We're able to laugh that neither of us is able to figure out this one part of this game. So tell me about some of your fun gaming stories or funny things that have happened when you guys have been gaming as a family.
Well, I mentioned the time about in Australia, but one of the things that we did as a family for a long time was actually Pokemon Go. We would drive around as a family and go catch them. And if we got to a gym, we'd send one of our kids out of the car and run and, beat the gym or go catch whatever it was. And it was a lot of fun because my 3 older ones had their phones, so we all got to do it together. And I'd pick my son and his friends up from football, and we'd go hit a couple gyms before we take them home. So that one's been a lot of fun as a family. And I love my oldest son. For his birthday, he took my TV from my bedroom and took it downstairs, set it all up with the Xbox and everything else, and they go down there and play for hours, and I am totally happy with that because they're not in my hair. And I actually had to take it away once because they were fighting, and they brought the thing back upstairs and started playing, and I was like, oh, that was punishing me, not them. So I said, hey, clean my basement, and then you can take it back downstairs. And that basement was clean, and it's been back downstairs, and it's really nice to have them be able to go and play. But my favorite is they'll be playing Super Mario Kart or something, and they'll be like, hey, Mom, do you want to play? And I said, okay. So then they're like, hey, Mom, this is how you do it. I'm like, I've played Mario Kart before. So I just let them teach me.
Isn't it funny when they try to teach you the games that you grew up on?
Yeah. So I just let them teach me, and then we play. And it used to be that I could beat them, but it's been a while since I've played, so now they crank me every time, and I just laugh. And then they, try to sympathize with me, and I'm just like, okay, whatever.
There are 2 modes of vacation, and I like them both. There's mode 1 where I'll take my family to, Washington, D.C., and say, okay, we have 8 hours to see all the Smithsonian Institute buildings. Go. And then it's just a run fest, and we'll do, 20 miles that day. But then there's another mode of vacation, and this is something that my family and my extended family has gotten into. Every couple of years, we'll all pitch in and just rent a place, and it doesn't have to be far away. Bear Lake, we'll do it at Bear Lake. In fact, just later this month, we are going to be in Washington. We're going to be in Washington doing this. But we'll just rent a place and have no agenda for about a week, and that is when the games come out. So those vacations are some of my fondest memories, and a lot of it is because, my nephews will come and they'll set up a whole network of computers, and there are a bunch of laptops, so we can go and we can play StarCraft or something. Or somebody will say, hey, I've had enough StarCraft, let's play Risk Legacy. So they'll pull out a game of Risk Legacy or something, and we'll all sit down and play, and then that'll be done. And then I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to go take a nap. So then I'll go take a nap, and then I'll get up. Hey, let's play a game of Dominion, and this goes on for about a week, and these are some of the most bonding and best memories that I have. So that's what I would say is that kind of time.
Well, all my clones just walked into the room, so I'm not going to tell the story about how Colo didn't strap the Wii controller onto his wrist and played Wii boxing and threw it through the TV. Don't want to embarrass him. Not going to tell that story.
Do I need to get the shame bell out?
But with the Wii, we had Tony Hawk, the downhill racing skateboarding game. And there was one day where we just needed some family time, so I went to the dollar store and bought a bunch of cheap prizes, and we had a downhill skateboarding tournament. We made a bracket, and it was just we kept playing over and over again, 2 people at a time, or 4 people, I can't remember. And then as we kind of got closer, then people would start winning prizes and stuff. That was a fun memory. I don't know. Do you guys have any memories from family, good family memories? What?
Tell them.
From gaming. No, I
You put them on the spot.
Sorry,
Now they're all
All right,
embarrassed.
fine, never mind.
No, I've got a really good one. We were playing 5-second rule just last month, and then
Is that where you drop something on the ground and then you have 5 seconds to eat it?
no,
Because I like that game.
you pull up a card and you have 5 seconds to name 3 famous things or 3 things
Oh,
that are on
cool.
the card.
Yeah.
And so the card said, name 3 things you're likely to find, or 3 people you're likely to find in a hospital.
Yeah.
And the answers were Doctor Strange, Doctor Who, and Dr. Seuss.
That's,
Pretty epic.
that's good.
There you
Do
go.
you have a story?
I like those kids.
The only one that really jumped to mind, besides the Animal Crossing and the Mario Sunshine I mentioned earlier, so there was a Mario Party-esque game that Animal Crossing put out called Amiibo Festival. Again, I know nobody likes it, but that's okay because I would play with my daughters and we had a good time. And there was some randomization, so you never knew who was going to win. It was just good, cute, silly fun. And one night, the youngest won, and that was the last thing we did before they went to bed. And this goes to show you, this works good and bad, believe me. But I just made a comment as she was going to bed. I was like, hey, good night, my little winner. And my wife came down, and she was going on about that. So it's the things you don't even think about that you say that can mean so much or do a lot of damage. In this case, it was good, but still, be careful.
So I have a memory that sticks in my mind from Christmas a few years ago. Has anybody here ever played the game Spoons? Okay.
Yeah.
You know how dangerous that game can be, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine a family of about 10 people sitting around a table. Spoons, you put spoons out, but you have one less spoon than the number of people at your table. And it's a card game, and I can't remember exactly how the cards go, but you're throwing cards down really fast, and if a certain card gets thrown down, everybody has to grab spoons, right? So we're playing with a bunch of teenage boys. Myself, my aunt, my uncle, my mom, my grandma was playing with us. That's how dangerous this game got. So somebody threw down a card, and we're all reaching for spoons. All of a sudden, my cousin's chair flies backwards. Somebody else dives across this big dining room table to grab a spoon. It was chaos. But it's a memory that will forever stick in my head because we were all laughing. We're all having such a great time. So if you really want a fun bonding game that's really fast-paced, I highly, highly recommend Spoons because you will be laughing, you'll be falling all over the place. One of us ended up with stitches one year. Because, yeah,
Sounds like you're playing nice.
we were playing Spoons, but somebody ended up with stitches one year playing Spoons. Another really fun game that I enjoy playing with friends and family is Exploding Kittens.
Yes.
Who's played Exploding Kittens?
Yes.
That's another really fast-paced game where you can really screw people up.
Oh, you know what?
So
that reminds
well.
me. Another really a recent fun memory of gaming that I have is when I was like, my teenage daughter is of age to play some more, adult games.
Are we talking Evil
And
Apples?
so it's like, well,
No.
So it was Christmas, I think. I was like, oh, here's Joking Hazard, the Cyanide and Happiness game. Like, she can have, that'll be a fun game for her to play with her friends, and I can be a cool dad. And so we busted it out, and oh my God, I game is so bad. I'm such a horrible father. But we had so much fun playing that game because it was so bad. Like the kids couldn't even say some of the card, like couldn't even read some of the cards.
Oh,
It was
no.
so awful, so terrible, and so much fun. Yeah, I don't think we've ever laughed as hard as we have ever as a family playing. Then we played that game.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other memories of instances like that where things just kind of got out of hand during a game and it just turned into just a wonderful family memory of game playing?
I've mentioned that my kids are very competitive, but my siblings are almost worse. My parents got this game, and there was a big plastic container full of a whole bunch of newspapers, and then there were a whole bunch of just random items. My dad has the driest sense of humor, and so he had stuff like hemorrhoid cream and scissors and all this stuff wrapped up. And you'd have to roll the dice, and then once you got doubles, you'd have to put on. No, okay, you had to go until you rolled doubles, and the one next to you would be unwrapping presents as fast as they can with oven mitts on. And so it got pretty violent. We had candy canes that got shattered all over the place. The cream was like burst because of how they opened it, and it was a lot of fun. But we had to ban that one because it was a little competitive. My sister and my brother were like at each other's throats pretty much because they're like, you were taking too long. No, I wasn't taking too long. Anyway, but it was fun. I liked playing those games. Have you ever heard of NERT?
Nerd, no.
It's great.
It's everybody plays solitaire at once, and you can all play against each other, and that was always a fun one for my family. You get a lot of laughing going on with that one too. Like I said, my parents, we didn't do a ton of games together. NERT was one of their biggest ones, but we still. So when we did play games like the one that was rather competitive, maybe that's why we didn't play very often. It was just so much fun, and the laughing I think is the biggest thing. When you're laughing so hard. Have you played the dentist game where you have to put the dental things in, and you have to? So your mouth is wide open.
clay one?
No, it's what's it called? I don't remember. Anyway, you put the little dental things in, so your mouth is like wide open, and you're reading off cards, and everybody else has to guess what you're saying. You're just dying laughing because of what comes out, and everybody else is trying to guess, and they're totally wrong half the time.
It reminds me of like the pie in the face game. Like it's so simple and so stupid, but like so much fun. Where
It is so
you're just like
funny.
cranking the thing and like, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty
Pie in the face.
hilarious. I'm gonna have to remember the name of that one, but that one's a funny one. We played that with friends for New Year's, and I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard.
I have a brother named Ryan, and he doesn't play games with us that much anymore, and I think it's because of this phenomena. And if I say this, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's a term in our family. It's called Ryan Nyboing the risk board.
Oh, no.
You know what Ryan Nyboing the risk board is? It's when you get angry at the game and just go. So we tease him about that, but I'm afraid we've teased him too much. It's like, Ryan, come on, come play. No, you guys go ahead. So he's all bitter about it, but it's still funny.
So speaking about competitive family members, my family will not play Trivial Pursuit with me anymore because I always win. But one year we were playing Cranium at Thanksgiving, and my brother and I were in like this dead heat, and we got really, and you know how siblings are, right? When siblings start getting into a fight about something, well, we started punching each other in the arms harder. Like, no, I'm winning. No, I'm gonna win. It just ramped up. So Cranium is now no longer played in our family because it got so out of control because of competition. Cranium, it's a trivia game. Two, you were going to say something?
Oh no. Well, that story. Like I'm the jerk in the family that would like purposely want to play Risk, knowing that the game would never finish. Just to make him flip the board. Like how long is it going to take before he flips the board? Let's see how many pieces we can get on there so we can get a bigger like spray of pieces into the air. I'm horrible.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and open it up to questions now. If you guys have any questions for us or stories, we'd love to hear
Hello,
stories.
I saved this one for this panel because I didn't really practice last time. Okay, so one of my kids has a friend who is so competitive that he cries when he wins because he didn't win by enough.
Oh my God.
He has thrown our Xbox
Two
controllers
chains.
and ruined them.
Turn around, it's that guy, isn't it? That's him. That's it's.
No, it's not.
He invented that.
But he has thrown some of our Xbox controllers and ruined them. And so it's like, we're really good friends with his family. I mentioned to his mom, okay, he doesn't get to play Xbox at our house. We waited like 3 years since the last time, and then like 2 weeks ago, he came over to our house and we threw them. And so I'm like, he just doesn't get to play video games in our house, and so we moved to Nerf Wars, right? Oh no, then he throws the guns down.
Oh man.
And so what do? How do you de-escalate from
When things
from
get
these
too-
kids
Play,
that are so
invite him to play games that he could never win, and just like beat him down until like, he's humbled enough. He's like, you know what?
That
I
he can't
win.
break.
Yeah.
And yes, things that he can't break, and just
No
keep
lawn
beating him,
darts.
keep beating him until he breaks.
It
That's what I would
kills
do.
me to watch this kid beat himself up because he's not winning by enough.
Yeah.
So number one,
I'm dead serious too. Like
You're
that's what
serious
you just
about
need to
it?
beat. Like he needs to not win.
that may actually work, but you're not his parent too. So I know that takes it to a whole nother level of dealing with other kids' competitiveness, and that's in everything, not just board games and video games. I mean, we're seeing that today in just kids playing soccer and things getting out of control and getting too competitive.
And just not playing it while they're there might be the best
Yeah.
way to do it, since it's not your kid. If it was your kid, I would totally say what he said.
Oh, yeah.
If it's your kid, right?
I absolutely.
Yeah.
My
We need
daughter.
to learn.
my
Better learn
daughter
now.
is that way. I mean,
Yeah.
she is 100% into whatever she does, and she will cry if she doesn't win, and she'll cry if she does win. And we've just had to teach her. And the more she loses, the better she's gotten at winning and losing. And it really has. It has made all the difference in the world for her. Now she has a lot more fun playing because she's okay with losing or winning. But
So-
it took
I was
losing
hoping
a
you
bunch
wanted to be a
before.
psychoanalysis.
Well, I do have a degree in conflict analysis and resolution, but with kids it's a lot harder because kids are all emotion. Kids aren't logic. They don't, and that's part of the problem with gaming is they get so out of control so quickly and they don't logically think, oh, I'm just going to respawn right here. No, they get upset because they died and they throw out the controller, right? So it's just really a method of teaching them time and time again and being patient with them and, trying to find ways to deal with the competitiveness. I mean, I have an only child, so I don't see that very much in her, but how do you guys deal with the competitiveness between your kids when it gets kind of crazy? I mean, you said you turn it off if they start
Yeah,
fighting.
that's
I mean, do
pretty
you wait
much
till the
been.
board gets flipped?
Well, it's mostly a video game rule, really. I mean, if we're playing a family board game, then we try to just kind of resolve it. I teach them how conflict resolution without yelling at each other.
Which is really hard.
It's hard. Sometimes the board gets flipped. Sometimes I flip it.
We'll turn it off. The video games. We'll turn it off if they start fighting because I just don't want to deal with it. And so they know very quickly that. I mean, they learn very quickly that if they fought, they would get turned off pretty quick. And sometimes, depending on what the fighting is for a board game, we will put it away sometimes too. It's like, okay, it's late. Let's just put it away. But I think this is a great way to teach them how to resolve conflicts. And so working through whatever is going on is a great way to do it. Sometimes just quitting doesn't teach them anything. They have to learn how to get through it. And fighting and being ready to throw it, okay, maybe it's time to put it away. But sometimes if it's just a little fight over who gets to buy the property for Monopoly, I always bought Boardwalk. My sister knew that she better not buy it. So things like that, it is very important to teach them how to resolve it. And sometimes if it gets escalated enough, it's just time to turn it off.
Go ahead, John.
Does that go for cheating as well?
That was going to be my next question is how do you guys deal with cheating?
Oh, hold on, before we get to that, my son, he's 21, and he could get quite passionate about his games. I'm not much different. And I would, just remind him, hey, you need to settle down. You break something, we're going to have issues. Well, he lives in the basement now, and he's got his own setup down there. It's my Xbox, though, and I just don't use it. He uses it. It's fine. And every now and then he'll be playing whatever. He plays like Dark Souls and something else, some like hard MMOs.
Games I would never play.
Yeah. And it's so funny because, if our show gets quiet, every now and again you can hear, "Are you expletive kidding me?" And one day I went down there and I'm like, wait a minute, I had a black controller and that's blue. So I'm like, hey, did you break my controller? Yeah. Like, well, thanks for replacing it. Hope you learned a lesson because that's $70. He's like, yeah, I'd replace the headset too. I'm like, well, I hope you learned something. So sometimes they just got to get burned to learn the stove is hot.
So how do you guys deal with cheating if you catch your kids cheating when you're playing a game?
Stocks in the public square.
Yeah.
We usually talk it through, basically, and explain why that's not okay and how you're not gonna get away with it in the real world.
I don't have like a huge problem, and this isn't like a bragging thing. We don't have a huge problem with cheating when we play like board games and
That
stuff.
you
Because
Except for the
of.
one. You know who you are.
yeah, that one right there.
Throw that one.
But it's because we always talk about like if there is a accusation of cheating or anything, we just gotta talk about like it makes it not fun. It's not fun if you cheat like that. It takes away all the fun of the game. In video games, like if they're playing Halo and stuff, they always accuse each other of like cheating, spamming, or whatever. And I'm like, hey, if the game lets you do it, it's not cheating. So
I have to
can't.
tell my kids that all the time. If they let you do it, it's not cheating. It's just
Part of the
it would-
mechanics.
Yeah, like if they're putting in codes and stuff, that's one thing. But if they're doing something like
using the Game Genie on NES.
yeah, when my kids, when I beat my oldest in Smash Bros, I'm pretty proud of myself. He's like, "That's because you keep doing the same move over and over again," and I'm like, "Hey, it works, man."
Learn to counter it.
That's right.
I think for me, with both on conflict and cheating, I just kind of point out that you don't want to become the person that nobody wants to play games with. Because pretty soon, everybody will have game night, and guess who won't get a call? So that's the natural, consequence to cheating and being the jerk at the table. So I just kind of point that out.
So we have about 9 minutes left, so I'd like to open up to our audience. If you guys have any questions or comments or stories you'd like to share, we'd love to hear them, because we love to hear stuff like that. James, I'm looking at you. I know you have
Those
stories.
kids in the back can talk about what
Yeah.
a horrible father I am.
Yeah. No questions?
No.
Really? Come on. We still got 9 minutes.
What's
I'm
your
a-
favorite like
I got-
family
I'm
game?
a
I
former
guess?
college professor. I'm going to keep you all here until the time is up. You got a question?
I have a fun cheating story
Okay.
while everyone thinks. So, like these guys as a kid, we had the Milton Bradley games. My sister and I, my younger sister, we were playing Battleship, and I'm not hitting anything. And I'm like, man, I'm just not having a good day. So she finally gets up and leaves the room for whatever reason. And I'm like, that's it. I'm looking. So I peek over, and I'm like, okay, I just took note of where one ship was. I'm like, I got you. I'll at least get one. Next one, I call it out. Miss. I'm like, she's moving the pieces. I'm like, I can't get too mad at her for cheating because I just looked at her board.
Did you call her out?
No.
Oh,
No, what you're supposed to do is just stack all
'Cause how
the
would I
ships
know?
on top of each other.
Or do a
That's how
little
you-
tiny square. So
Try that next time. Try with the kid who keeps like winning all the time, and then he'll never beat you at Battleship. That'll humble him.
pick 'em up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'll go find him. We'll challenge him to like pinball or something.
Actually, he just came in 20th place with the
Nice.
Nice.
So I have a story about my brother and his gaming. My brother got into Magic, the Gathering, at a very, very early age. He tried to teach it to me. I just couldn't pick it up. But I want to say about 15 years ago, he got so good at Magic the Gathering that he got to go to Venice on the world tour, and he got like 20th in the world. So if your kids have a passion for a specific game, embrace it. I mean, that's kind of been our philosophy on Geek Parenting is if your kid's got a fandom or a game that they're really into, help them build it and let them go, because this was an all expense paid trip that my brother went to Venice. I mean, this is the only time he's ever been to Europe, and he got to go for a Magic tournament. So, I mean, think about the wonderful experiences our kids can have if we just embrace their love for games and the things they can do here at Salt Lake Gaming Con or Comic Con or international tournaments for Magic the Gathering. Just kind of embrace that.
I wonder where Joking Hazard will take us.
Well, and if it's a game like Magic or Pokemon or one of these games where you have to buy cards and you kind of sort out your deck, What I've done with my girls like to collect them. They don't really play. That's fine. We use it as a means to get them to understand responsibility. It's like, yeah, I will buy you this pack or this, whatever you want, but you don't just get it when we get home. It's like you've got to meet whatever the qualifier is in order to get this deck of cards. It's just, and it's something small because it's only a $4 pack of cards, but make them earn it. $5.
My oldest actually found a love with Smash Bros. That's his favorite thing to do, and
That's a good esports title.
yeah, and he went to school, to sign up for clubs and stuff, and there's clubs of pretty much anything you could think of for high school, and there was a Smash Bros. Club, and I thought for just a split second before I'm like, sign up. And he has had an absolute blast with it, and he has to go outside of our house to find people that aren't mad at him for beating them every time. But it's something that he's really enjoyed doing, and he just keeps going. And of course, as soon as I found out that they're doing the Smash tournament here, I was like, get yourself signed up. And he's really enjoyed it. And he's one that is perfectly happy just sitting in his room and reading or playing on the tablet or whatever. So if there's something that will get him out and go do a club, by all means, I'm going to get him out there to go do it.
So I'm going to take one last chance for questions or comments. Go ahead.
Did he sign up for singles or doubles?
He's doing singles. He's doing it in the morning.
So since we don't have any questions, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I'd like each of you to tell us. Oh, is there another question in the back?
Yes,
Oh,
actually, I do have a question.
okay, excellent.
First of all, are any of you on Steam? Do you find games through Steam?
I got Undertale on Steam, which is one my 5-year-old loves to play with me. She will sit in my lap and say, "Can we play the heart game?" It's Undertale,
Goat Simulator.
and she'll sit there and play with me. I really want to get Darkest Dungeon because it just came out with some DLC. I've been watching people play that, and I really want to play that, and I know it's on Steam as well. So.
Second, what about, I forgot the name of it already, but Will Wheaton's YouTube thing where they try different indie games?
Well, that's on Antenna TV too. They put that on over the air.
Have you purchased any of those from watching that show or anything?
I haven't.
I haven't. No.
Because I've looked a few times where I saw one that looked really fun, and I couldn't ever find any place that actually sold it, and I was so disappointed because it looked so fun.
To be honest, with my family, we don't play many tabletop games because my 5-year-old likes to make up her own rules, and we can never actually play the game. So.
I think it depends on what game store you're going to find. Because most of them should be able to get most of those games. At Watchtower, we're partnered with Demolition Games in Salt Lake, and they're great. They can get just about anything.
Yeah,
It depends on where you go.
When I had my bookstore, I would special order games all the time for the same reason. In fact, when we closed, I just put it out there, hey guys, I'm about to close my gaming thing. I have to have $300 worth of games for free shipping, and we easily made that because
Yeah.
everybody just
Wants the
piled on
games.
as many orders as they could.
So let's close out here. Go ahead and tell us once more who you are, where we can find you, and we'll close out.
My name is Jacqueline Wiest. I'm at jacquelinewiest.com, and I actually have a few of my fairy tale retellings here that I just want to get rid of. I just got rid of my publisher, so I need to get new books. So if you want one, come grab it. They're free.
Nice.
And I have one more panel tomorrow at 11. I believe it's Are Games as Good as They Used to Be or something like that.
They're better.
Yeah. And otherwise, I usually at Comic-Con and FanX and all the conventions around here.
My name is Craig Nibel. I'm a game designer for Quirky Engine Entertainment. And for coming here, I have something free for you. This game actually has a soundtrack. We scored a soundtrack for it. Yeah,
Cool.
It's a rock and roll game. If you go to giveaways.quirkyengine.com/chops, you can download that soundtrack right now for free, right here on your phone.
There you go.
And I'm Mike Tuiasoa, the janitor of Watchtower Cafe. It's the geekiest coffee shop in Salt Lake. You can also find me at, that's 1588 South State Street. Come and get a drink. And you can also find me on Geek Parenting Podcast, where I make bad jokes. Here.
Really bad jokes. Sorry, Stefan.
I'm Johnny Chihuahua. You can also find me on Geek Parenting Podcast. If I'm not there or at Watchtower, I'm probably in the bushes in front of your house.
Can confirm.
And I am Dr. Sarah Hanisco. You can find me also on Geek Parenting Podcast as well as academicgeeks.org. And thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.